thank you for accepting our invitation again. Once again to CMCTV. Let's talk about, as I said, the economy, housing, and soccer, a little bit of everything. Let me start with your visit to Madrid in Spain. Julie Dzerowicz, who led the Canadian delegation as chair of the annual session of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. On that trip to Madrid in Spain, there was again talk of Russia's war against Ukraine, which has caused economic consequences and responses from countries. What are the solutions given the economic problems that have arisen in the Western world?
Well, first, hola Nuno, é prazer estar aqui com vocês. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with you and to be speaking to all the listeners. I was in Madrid. You are absolutely right, leading a delegation of all-party parliamentarians here from the House of Commons. And you're right, the war in Ukraine was top of mind. And part of the reason it was top of mind was not only because it was an illegal invasion by Russia into Ukraine, but one of the big side effects is that it's had a huge impact on inflation, and it's had a huge impact on the increased costs of living that we have in Canada today. So what would you like me to chat about now?
What is the proposals to the government to fight these problems?
We absolutely, as a government, have to think, oh my goodness, we know that Canadians and many in the Portuguese community have come up to me and says, Julie, the cost of living is so high. Yeah. How is the government helping us? And so here is what we have introduced. So we introduced something called the Fall Economic Statement. So it's like a small little budget. And a big part of it is what more support are we giving to Canadians? And the second part is what are we doing to make sure that we continue to have a strong economy moving forward so that we can continue to have good paying jobs? So on the first part, here's what we've done. We have doubled the GST credit, okay? That means 11 million Canadians will get a doubling of dollars. So that's, for a single individual, it's about $267. For a family four, it's almost $500. And for a senior, it's just under $300. So that is additional dollars that we are giving to Canadians right away. We also put in national childcare, Nuno. So if you have a child that needs to go to daycare, the federal government has paid money to the provincial government so that 50% of your costs are eliminated. So in Toronto, where I live, it costs about $1,200 for each child for daycare a month. So that means by sometime in December, that means next month, 50% of your costs will go down. So if you've been paying $1,200, you will then be paying $600 per child, okay? And that is a huge savings for families. That gives you an additional $600 per child per month to be able to afford the increasing costs of food and transportation and heating, which is what people are seeing. The other thing is we're implementing a dental care benefit, okay? So this year and next year, if you have kids under the age of 12, and if you are in a household of $90,000 or less, you can apply to the Canada Revenue Agency to cover $650, up to $650 per kid under the age of 12 for any of their dental care. So whether it's cleaning of their teeth or a cavity that they have to fill, you get up to $650 per kid under the age of 12, both this year, 2022, and next year, 2023. So those are three key things. And I'll mention one more thing because many in the community have told me that they really like this. If you're a student and you just finished university, Most students in Canada gets Canada student loans, okay? Student loans. They get loans from the government to be able to afford paying tuition and paying for books and all the other costs of going to university. So we've announced two things. One, as a student, and you've just finished your degree, you don't have to start repaying back your Canada student loan until you've earned $40,000 a year, okay? So many students earn $25,000 or $30,000. So we're saying to them, no, until you earn $40,000, you don't have to start thinking about repaying your loans. And when you start repaying your loans, you never have to pay interest. The federal government is eliminating all interest on the loans. That puts a lot more money into the pockets of our students. And that is a big relief to parents because that allows kids, to start, start saving for a house, saving to be able to live independently, save to do a whole slew of other things. So that is what we're doing. And look, a lot of seniors come to me and they say, Julie, what are you doing for me? I'm a senior. Yeah. And so I tell them, well, we're giving you the GST credit, and they're very happy because that puts an additional $300 in their pocket, just under $300. But the other thing I say to them is, look, this year we're starting with the dental care benefit for children under 12, but by the end of 2023, we are going to be introducing it for seniors over 65. And they are so happy to hear that. So I want to tell all the seniors out there, more dental care is going to be coming your way, and it's starting at the end of 2023.
Very well. In environmental and economic terms, Julie highlights Canada's role in decarbonization. Can you tell us about the $10,000 that will support owners to retrofit?
Oh, well, that is such a good question, Nuno. And I'm afraid I don't have any details on that other than to say to you, as a homeowner, I'm really excited about it. I think the minister made an announcement, but the details about
what do you think about this?
Well, I think it's great. Look, yeah, we are all, so you started our whole conversation about Ukraine. You started this whole conversation about me going to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly meeting in Madrid. The big conversation was not only how is it that all NATO countries are going to continue to support Ukraine against this illegal invasion by Russia, but we were also talking about the high cost of energy, and we were also talking about climate change. And how is it that we can help our own citizens decarbonize? So that means reduce their emissions, which in turn will also help them to reduce their costs for energy and help us to get to net zero by 2050. So I don't have details at this time, Nuno, about how to actually apply for that $10,000 sort of retrofit program in terms of reducing emissions, but know that I'm personally very interested. And the minute I get more details, I'll be coming back to the community and giving them details about how they can apply.
Very well, MP. My question for FAL economic statement in Ottawa, among the majority proposals and conclusions, which one will serve the interests of Davenport residents the most?
Well, I think it'll be all the programs I mentioned: the national child care, the dental care, the GST credit, and the interest, the elimination of interest on Canada student loans. But can I also mention, Nuno, because I'm glad you mentioned the fall economic statement again, we have to talk about businesses. A lot within the community, they run small businesses. For small businesses, we are going to be reducing the credit card fees. Okay, so every time a customer uses credit card, there are fees that small businesses have to pay. So the federal government is going to help to reduce those fees so that more money is kept by our small businesses, which is really important for them. But I'll also say to you that we are also making very big investments in clean technology So we're providing a lot of tax credits for companies who want to, who are trying to create new types of energy that is clean and green, things like electric vehicles or things like that. And then we are also providing other incentives to make sure that our big businesses continue to invest in their own businesses and invest in their people.
Very well. Let's talk about the National Occupation Classification 2021 for immigration programs run under the Express Entry System. Julie, it is a program for newcomers and for citizens who want to live in Canada. Can you tell about the program?
So yes, it's an excellent question, Nuno, and thank you for bringing it up. Look, it is no secret, right across this country, we have huge labor shortages. We have a lot of businesses who are saying, I am struggling because I can't find workers, and I can't find people with the skills that we need to grow our business. And so our federal government has, and then also we have some problems in things in places like our hospitals where we don't have a sufficient amount of healthcare workers. So we have introduced 16 new professions and occupations into our immigration system, and we're encouraging people to apply. So nurses is one of them. Estheticians are another one. Big machinery workers is another one. Truck drivers is another one. So those are among the 16 that we want to have more people apply into our system, which is really great. Although I will say to you, if I talk to many of the Portuguese restaurants right across the city, they would say they need chefs. They need Portuguese chefs just because the Portuguese make food in a certain way, and they need some chefs to come from Portugal to be able to fulfill that job. So it's not on the list this time, but maybe it'll be on the list next time.
Let's talk about the non-profit organizations in Davenport. The federal government is creating a new fund to support the modernization of their operations. Can you reveal more details to us?
Well, thank you for the question. I think what's happened is many of our nonprofits and charities, so charities like Luso Charities, yes, or Abrigo Center, or West Neighborhood House are very popular within the community. So all of them need to modernize, and they need support to be able to continue to support their organization coming out of COVID. So right now we've announced that we are going to provide additional dollars to charities and to nonprofits beginning in the early new year. So the application process starts in mid-January, finishes in February. And right now, what I'm waiting for, Nuno, is a few more details, because what the number one question from the community of nonprofits and charities that want to apply is how much can they apply for? So I'm trying to figure out whether they can apply for up to $50,000 or up to $100,000. And so that's what I'm waiting for right now. But I am glad you mentioned it, because it is so important for our nonprofits, for our charities to know that there is going to be federal funding available to help support them. It could be for buying new computers. It could be for hiring some new staff. It could be for making their facility more accessible. It could be putting in a new elevator. It could be for any number of reasons, but we want to make sure that we continue to support our nonprofits and charities. They make such a big impact in the lives of the Portuguese community, in the lives of Davenport residents, and so it's really important for us to continue to invest in them.
Thank you for your answer. Let's end with the World Cup. First of all, Canada national soccer team, unfortunately, has been eliminated from the tournament. But on the other hand, Portuguese Canadians are happy that the Portuguese national team has qualified for the next phase. my question is very particular. Will Julie be rooting for Portugal now?
Of course. I've been rooting for Portugal. Like, unfortunately, Canada lost, to Croatia, although I've been so proud of them, their hard work, their first goal ever at a World Cup, in our history. I'm very proud of the team. I think that Canadians are so proud of our national men's soccer team. And so we look forward to seeing and watching them in the future. But as soon as Canada lost, I am 100% behind Portugal. I'm so proud that they've now made it into the next level. I think I was very proud to see Ronaldo score a goal in his fifth World Cup.
Yes.
He has set a record. I know that the Portuguese community is so proud of him, and I really am hoping that Portugal will win the World Cup this year.